All right, everybody, welcome back. All right, everyone, welcome back to the second match of the evening for our LCS Captain's Draft. Um, Here with the losers game that should be starting in a few seconds with our blue team from last game and the other team that I believe was also the blue team from the previous game. Sig has left for this particular match, but I'm instead joined by Alan C, who you guys may remember from week 2. How you doing, Alan Z?
Not too bad yourself.
Oh, doing great. Ready to get another game going, and hopefully we get to see the blue team from my game redeem themselves. But they're, just wrapping some stuff up here. What do you think of the lineups we're going to have for this game, too? Because looking at it here, it looks as though everything's kind of spread out somewhat equally again. Couple of golds, couple of silvers for the other team here, and one platinum versus the two platinums, silvers, and bronze from the blue team from earlier. So I think it is relatively spread out, but I've been wrong before. Yep, just looking to get that rocking and rolling there. You still there, Rob?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Cool. All right, just making sure. Because we've been having some mic issues. I know that Sig was having some issues earlier as well. So, it looks like we're just getting some last couple of questions um, finalized here, making sure we're all set, and then we'll be jumping straight into the champ select. So, can't wait to see what to expect from this. Probably more targeted bans. It seems to be the theme from the LCUS these last couple of weeks. All right. Yep. And here we go into the champion select first round of bans. Are you expecting to see anything in particular here, LNC, or what are you going to be looking for these bans and picks?
It's your funeral.
I keep hitting the wrong button. There we go.
I was wondering. All right.
Yeah, technical issues. I think we're going to see a lot of probably. I know they're going to ban Vigar, unfortunately for Spencer, aka Kokono Okagi, because that's his favorite champ. But he's been paying a lot of Zoe lately. He really has picked her up pretty well. So I'm excited to see if he'll pick her again.
Your commands tire
Yep.
me.
There goes our.
There it is.
There goes with Snorlax not wanting to have their team face that Vagar in the second game. So knocking it out. Though it'll be interesting to see how that pays off. I mean, obviously, like you said, definitely doing a little bit of a target ban there, but also the trauma from last game is probably sticking with him.
Not a problem.
Oh, and the Misfortune banned out, so our red team won't be able to ban Misfortune as well. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, definitely seeing a lot of those, the Yorick ban twice now. Definitely trying to keep him out of the top lane.
Well, a couple of high-profile, high-ranked YouTube pro players have been saying that right now Yorick's actually pretty broken. So I'm not surprised to see the ban. Last week when he played, there one team out of York, and he basically just destroyed top lane all by himself. So,
Well, it's nice to keep those sorts of things in mind. And of course, the Zoe gets banned as well. I'll be interested to see if we see her at all in these next couple of games. With, like we were saying before, you kind of want to keep her out of the hands of those skilled players who may have mastered her a little bit quicker than everyone else did.
she's a lot like I'd say she's the Lee Sin of mid laners. I mean, I guess you could argue that Zed is too, but you can definitely tell the difference between a Great Lee and not that great lane. I think the same thing probably applies to Zoe. She's got a lot of skill shots and a pretty interesting kit.
Yep. Ooh, and the Jarvan for the last ban there. That's pretty interesting. But we will see what kind of first pick we get here. First pick, Anivia. Interesting. What do you think about that?
Well, Kokoro does have a pretty good match history with Anivia. He used to actually main her back in Season 2 and 3. So I'm not too surprised, especially because they banned Zoe and Vigar. I was kind of expecting a Belkas, but this will be interesting.
Alright, and Sona getting through. Last couple of games that I've casted, Sona's been banned pretty heavily, so it'll be interesting to see her able to stretch her strings, as it were. And we'll see what kind of second pick they bring out here on the red team. Especially considering they went Lulu in the last game, so probably trying to mix it up and keep that Sona, make things interesting, and a Kindred as well. Definitely shaping up to be a much different team than we saw in Game 1 for the red team at this point. Alright. And now the pick from the blue side, maybe something to complement the Anivia, or just something to secure a little bit more in the bot lane. Yep, Tristana. Alright, so do you think, Alan Z, do you think that Kindred, I'm guessing it's going to be a jungle pick?
Well, actually, maybe. There have been a couple of games I've played just randoms, and people have been going Kindred bot lane, so I'm not too sure how this is going to turn out, but it'd be nice to see a Kindred in the jungle, a nice mix-up of things.
Yeah, for sure, especially because that Graves is most likely going into the jungle. So it'd be interesting to see two kind of ranged ADC characters duking it out with the domain that's generally tanks and assassins. Alright, and with that we most likely know what our mid lane is, Anivia and Ziggs. So for this second round of bans, it looks like they're targeting some of the top lane with that Gnar. Let's see here. What kind of highlighting champions do you think we're going to see knocked out in these next couple of bans?
Well, it looks like they focus mostly mid laners and top laners for red, but blue seems to be going after ADCs. I can see them banning probably another top laner, but not too sure who.
Yeah, as you said, they're taking out those ADCs for sure, especially since red hasn't picked one yet. It'd be interesting to see if they take out like Ezreal next or something like that, because I mean Ezreal could add a lot of flexibility to the red team.
Alternative.
And there's that Blitzcrank ban, same ban they threw out in Game 1. Definitely don't like all that CC he brings to the table. Alright, so we're going to know what the last ban here. Maybe they'll take out another ADC. Plenty to choose from though, so even if they do take out one. Yep.
Sharpening my feathers.
4 for 5 ADCs. And just the almost no hesitation Jhin pick for the red team. So don't seem to be that hampered by all the ADC bans coming out of blue. Alright, so looking at this team here, it looks like all we have left is the support pick, which is going to be a Lux.
Interesting. Interesting pick. Ooh.
Yeah, this is going to be quite the interesting game if they do lock in that Cho for the final pick. I mean, with all of the great CC potential he has, yeah, there it is. Alright, so looking at these teams here, what are your thoughts?
Well, the thing about Sona is she's a really strong early game with her poke, and she works really well with the new runes that have been revamped and everything. But late game, she's not going to do that much of an impact. Now, if both Lux and Sona go AP, Lux is going to do a higher impact. So I think it'll be really interesting. I think it's going to come down to bot lane and jungle.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially with the interesting kind of mix of CC kits that we've got here. That's something that I always like harping on, because I mean we've got Cho'Gath with his obviously his knockups and his silences, Sona with her AoE stun, and on the other end you've got Anivia with, of course, her ice ball is very efficient with that, and Lux has got her snares.
And Darius has his pull.
Yeah,
So.
Darius's pull especially should be very interesting. I mean, if you can Darius pull like maybe into Anivia's ult, I'll be particularly interested to see if Anivia and Darius work well together to like maybe wall off a character. Because I mean, if you could trap like a Jin behind an ice wall, he's probably going to die.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Ziggs isn't known for his mobility, so I mean, Nivea's not that great. Well, not that great until 6, but if she can land her stun, like I can see the Ziggs not doing too well in this matchup.
Yeah, that Ziggs is definitely going to probably be saving his bombs to just keep himself out of harm's way. But even especially with the matchup in the bot lane, we got Jin Sona versus Tristana Lux. How do you think that's going to go early game?
Well, so Sona can poke with her Q, and then Jin can obviously get a stun off with his W. But if Lux can end up landing her Q and stunning Jin, and then got to get lucky, all he has to do is throw on his bomb charge and then jump on him, and Jin's going to have a really hard time getting away. So my vote right now is that blue side will win, but it also all depends on ganks.
Yeah, definitely. And with the gank potential, it'll be really interesting to see how that works out, especially with the Kindred and the Graves. Because I mean, the Graves, of course, has a lot of high damage, but isn't like, at least to my knowledge, isn't really a champion that you pick to go in and lock down somebody. So they're definitely going to be hoping that Lux lands her snares to be able to secure some early kills if the Graves does decide to gank bot lane.
I would say, well, blue side, they've got a very all-in comp, it looks like. If they can get off a CC, they're all going to go for you. But red side, meanwhile, can just, poke and knock you down. And they've got a good retreat, so
Yeah.
be interesting.
Yeah, range for sure is on the red team side. I mean, you've got both that Jin and that Ziggs able to throw long range downfield, especially with Jin's ult. And I'll be interested to see how well Sona lands a couple of her ults as well to lock down this all-in thing. Because like you said, if the blue team tries to go all in on a quick snag of some variety, Sona could shut them all down with her ult, and then Cho'Gath could knock them up, and that could pretty much take out the whole team with just those 2 hits, assuming the rest of the team's paying attention.
I definitely agree with you on that. What I'm wondering is how it play out is if Graves and Kindred end up getting into a skirmish in one of their jungles, because both have a dash, they can miss a skill shot, but I think Kindred would come out on top. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would say that Kindred probably would come up on top as well. I mean, Graves is unusually tanky for an ADC, but I don't think that would have too much of an advantage in the jungle if they run into each other. My guess would be Graves would probably just want to fall back, and he does, of course, have a lot of heavy support in the top and mid lane. But we're just going to move right into the game and find out. We're starting up game 2 here of week 3, as we said. And here's hoping we have another great game to share with all of you.
Got that Silent Night Sona just in time for the happy holidays.
Indeed. A lot of skins up top. Maybe that'll give them an edge.
Skins make wins. Or so they say.
Or so they say. Never met anyone who said that, but I'll believe you. Alright. So here we go.
Ooh, I like the new touch with the project spawning. That's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always a fan of more project skins. Project skins, project art, whatever we can do. Looks like we may be getting a little bit of an encounter already here. Anivia and Cho both right next to each other. But, oh, yep, there's a little bit of the poke in there. Darius coming down. Nope. Alright, so a little bit of an exchange there with Cho definitely coming out worse for wear, but he'll probably be able to get back in time.
I think happened there. Well, Darius probably didn't pick his. He didn't start his pull first, and I think if he had, they might have been able to burn a flash off Cho'Gath.
Yeah, yeah, he started with Decimate, so wouldn't have been able to do anything there. Though even with the pull, I don't know if the range would have been quite there to be able to pull it off, but I guess we'll never know. All right, so we'll just rearrange the scoreboard here really quick. Perfect. All right, so starting off, of course, mid lane is where the action first begins, and looks very, very so-so with Ziggs just spamming his haha emote because it's not a game of League of Legends without some friendly BM. Top lane also exchanging a couple of hits, but nothing too dangerous right now. And bot lane is, of course, where we were talking. There's going to be a lot of walking on the razor there with Jin's squishiness versus Lux's ability to trap him. But it looks as though Jin's the one with the upper hand, at least at first, with a little bit of poke on the Tristana.
He has a really strong early game, especially with his definitive crit strike on his 4 shots, so...
Alright, looks like Graves may be rotating up. Nope. Woken on that river crab instead. But a lot of fighting going on up there in the top lane. Draven, or not Draven, Darius, decided to stick around at very low health. Probably because he knows that the Graves is close by, who just encountered the Kindred, so not too much of a worry about getting ganked. But with the damage potential of the Cho, and the Cho'Gath might be able to take him out here. Oh, it's going to be very close.
He doesn't
Flashes
have
for it.
Ooh.
Oh. And first blood goes to red team. But Graves
Graves with the flash Q.
Yep. And Kindred also gets taken out by a minion, so that's very rough for the red team. Though managing to get first blood, which of course you convince yourself is a good trade that way.
It's all about that early game moral.
Yeah, you got keep the morale high, and good things will happen. Zig seems to be rotating down here, considering how low Tristana is. That's a good idea. Oh, the flash!
Oh, the flash!
That was amazing. Great play by the Jhin, and Ziggs trying to. Oh, that displacement, almost taking out the Lux. Anivia was coming down to help, but I think Wisely is backing off to get just a little bit more farm. You don't want to take too many losses this early, especially with how valuable her passive can be later. Top lane's also fighting a little bit more. Darius seems to have gone a much tankier route than you might expect.
Yeah, he started Doran's Blade instead of Doran's Shield, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and he does have one of the health increasing passives as well from the new runes. So I'm sure that's helping keep him alive a little bit longer than one might expect. Graves and Anivia pushing really hard in the mid lane. Ziggs getting behind him, might make him regret it. Good ice wall though, keeping that perimeter up. Alright. A little bit of uncontested farming going on with the Tristana in the bot lane as both Jhin and Sona went back. Darius pushing in pretty well. Both champions at 5, but Darius seems to be a little bit further ahead. Just a smidge, though. Definitely just kind of resetting at this point, though. A lot more aggressive fighting going on, especially with this Darius here.
Ooh, good pull.
Yeah, really good pull. He's making the Cho work for any sort of engagement here. Now Cho finds himself kind of in an uncomfortable position and gets taken out. That really goes to show just the straight up damage potential of Darius.
He does. He has very good sustain as well.
Yeah, I mean that fight seemed to be going Cho's way for the first half of the hit points, and then Darius just brings it back around, and the scoreboard speaks for itself. Very even game here, approaching 6 minutes. Down here in the bot lane, still more trades going on here. Really good maneuvering by the Jhin there to take down about a third of Tristana's HP. Especially important considering that Jin has the sustain in his lane with the Sona's possible healing, while Lux really doesn't bring that much healing, more just in the forms of shields. So every little bit helps.
It's also important to point out that Jin, he went back and got a Warhammer right away, so that 25 attack damage plus 10% cooldown reduction is pretty nice, especially with his Q. Whereas Tristana, the only thing she got was a culling.
Yeah, I mean, Tristana, just that damage, as you said, speaks for itself. Tristana very low now, and really should get back. Ziggs getting picked off with a couple of trades that we kind of glanced at, but just like the Ziggs, we underestimated Anivia's burst potential.
Well, Ziggs did burn his flash, even though Anivia's already got her Q off, so I think it's Icebird's Kingdom in the mid lane right now.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it. Despite Kindred trying to hold the tower, Anivia just didn't really seem to care at all. Graves coming down to try to give a little more presence here for the bot lane, who's been really under siege, though the Tristana's managed to heal up to half health. Should be interesting to see, but it looks as though Graves just wanted to make his presence known and is now going back to farming in the jungle. Maybe... Nope, Tristana's probably getting away here. Was close, though. A lot of trades going on here, and most of them in the favor of the red team, despite the fact they haven't been able to secure a kill outside of that first one.
Well, right now, the Jin is only 75% of the way to 6, so we could see a possible Tristana death when he hits it.
Yeah, a lot of movement by the red team down in the bot lane here. Looks like they could be coming down for a big gank. Considering how low the Tristana is, I wouldn't be surprised. Ziggs' ult alone should be able to close stuff out. Oh, there's going to be a lot of ults going down on this poor Tristana. Might be able to get away. The Lux does get taken out. Good flash by the Tristana, though. Manages to move that last little bit. Sona did get pretty low during that fight, but Tristana's escape for Lux's death. Do you think Blue feels good about that trade?
No, they definitely lost, and the fact that they're about to give Red first turret just goes to show that Red is definitely dominating the early game right now.
Yep, a little bit of a 2k gold lead, but poor Cho is going to get picked on again. Burns the flash, probably getting away, but, you know, taking out that flash is always a good thing for any character. Dragon's going to get taken here. First dragon of the game. Very good for the red team, helping them secure a little bit more of that lead as they're about 2k up. Alright, so if you're blue team in this situation, what would you look to do to try to get back into this game? Even because the momentum's definitely swinging a little bit more toward red in this instance.
I think what they're going to do is they're going to have bot lane AFK farm, because that's really their only option right now. But the one thing they really should do is rely on getting their top and their mid lane fed. But
oh, Anivia could have taken out the Ziggs there, but doesn't. Decides to go with a cheeky egg teleport play to get out of there. I'm surprised, considering that was the plan, that she didn't commit a little bit more to try to take that Ziggs out, but I guess they know the timing of their own abilities. But right now, I mean, red team is really making all of the plays and establishing all of their presence. Icebird comes back, though, forces the ult out of Ziggs, and it misses. Darius here helping out a little bit, though probably a little more than they bargained for. Losing the Darius, but should be able to get the Cho in the exchange, unless they don't. Graves in trouble, good flash there. Jin trying to get it, doesn't get it. Graves should probably get out of there. Jin's ult is up, so if Jin really wanted to, and they go back into this, Jin could probably pick Graves off. Especially now. Oh, that stun. Anivia might be able to get out. Oh, amazing! Amazing snare there by Jin to help secure that kill. And Graves is now in a lot of trouble under turret.
Red just continues to snowball.
Yeah, especially amazing because all of this happened in like the last 2 or 3 minutes. It was relatively even until that turret was taken, and now it's like a light bulb has gone off in red team's head about how secure they actually are in their lead.
Ooh, good sidestep from Gotta Get Lucky, but it won't be enough.
Yeah, Jin is definitely moving on up, especially because Jin has boots and Tristana doesn't. There just really is no getting away from your opposing ADC in that situation.
Especially with Yomuo's Blaze active with the, what is it, 60% movement speed for 3 seconds?
Yep, more or less, I believe so. Or 20%, but plus 40 movement speed in general. Yep, all very, very difficult to come back from. And now we're at a 3K gold lead, up from 2 a few minutes ago. So, as we were saying, you know, as to looking to positions, let's look at blue team's strengths right now. Anivia is definitely being one of their bigger playmakers. Just, you know, making some clever plays, definitely a source for that CC as well. So something they should definitely try to capitalize on. Lux gets some good damage out with her ult, but Jin is now coming back from the side. 3 shots away from his crit, of course. Darius...
Ooh, down goes, maybe.
Oh, Darius should have... Darius knows his champion. Gets him with that bleed. I was about to say that he should have, you know, taken one more turret shot to finalize that kill, but clearly it wasn't needed. And it looks like they are possibly getting the mid turret. Oh, Jin doesn't complete his pretty picture. Though Anivia is probably going to end up dying here. Alright, so they get a turret. Don't even get a turret. And lose 2. Just another powerful statement there by the red team.
Looks like that'll be a mid turret for red. Meanwhile, blue just can't seem to hold up.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, and it just seems like red just has everything going their way. Be it confidence in team fights, be it positioning when they're trying to get those turrets, or simply just, you know, moving as a team. If we look at the blue team right now, Tristana's down bot lane doing, you know, like what you said, the passive farming. But now, if red does try to turn on the blue team, they're going to be in a 4v5, down 4k gold, and it just won't go well for them if they try it, but it looks like that's what they're trying to do, because they do have Cho kind of caught there, though of course Flash is a summoner spell that does exist. And red seems to be letting them get away.
I think you really said it best. Red team is really great as a team. They're rotating, they're going from mid bot lane to mid lane and then top lane. It just seems like blue just can't seem to keep up with the rotation.
Now Anivia taking 2 tower shots, possibly unnecessarily, but they do manage to get Ziggs off there. Jin coming in, announcing his presence and letting the other team back off a little bit there. Tristana really, if Tristana wants to live, she should get out of there right now, because Jin is fast and hungry. But she's going to run right into the bush. She's got to jump right now. Oh, the ult. But Tristana gets away.
I don't know why he didn't use his W right.
Probably figured he'd be flashy about it. You know, I mean, that he's being in character, man. He's an artist. Oh.
Yeah, it seems like Blue's hope right now is just to make it the late game. I mean, Tristana's gonna really pop off, and so will Anivia and Indilux if she goes AP. But right now, I mean, if Red keeps up this pressure momentum, there's nothing Blue team can do.
Now we'll have to see. They have caught up a little bit on gold, but with Darius dying out there in the top lane, that's been one of their strong points so far, has been the top lane. Despite Cho'Gath's kill lead, Darius has been winning most of the fights.
Well, now with Darius with no teleport down, and then Sho also has just summoned Rift, you're gonna see top lane go down.
Yeah, and now blue team does have a choice if they're going to try to stop this Rift or if they're going to try to contest Dragon. But once again, it's another question of team presence. It's a 4v3 by Dragon, and really this isn't a 4v3 that blue team wants, despite a valiant effort for LCUS to try to steal it. Looks like they do manage to get out without losing anybody. But I think a lot of it just might be the, let's say, the mercy of the red team. Do you think that they should have turned at that Dragon fight?
Well, I think what blue team should have done, they should have had Tristana go to Dragon and fought a 5v4, and then they might have had a chance. But it seems just like Tristana suffers from ADC syndrome and just needs to farm to catch up.
Yes. Poor Graves finds himself caught really out of position. Anivia is trying her best to try to make something out of this fight, but doesn't manage to, considering she was completely surrounded, and loses the egg as well. LCUS doing some really good jukes though. He gets hit by 2 out of the 4 bullets. And another turret down. Red team just really crushing it here, making up for the loss they had in game number 1. And now with a 6k gold lead, we got some dual lane pressure going on here at the top and mid lanes.
Yeah, 5-0 Jin is not something you want to go up against.
Ziggs trying to secure a way out, but he's still rather slow against the Darius, and Darius is just really putting the pain on. Yeah, that's one dead Ziggs. And possibly a Cho also, but with a turret right there, I think Cho's probably just going to be fine. Yeah, Cho gets away, Jin pushing bot.
Looks like Red might get bot lane.
Nivea here to try to contest it. See how that goes. Of course, Nivea's ult is just a really good wave clearing tool. So as long as Nivea is there, they should be able to hold this turret. Jin going home, Cho securing top. Looks like blue team does want top though. It'll be interesting to see if they manage to get it. Graves taking some damage due to the splash from his shotgun, drawing a lot of turret pressure. That's rather unfortunate.
Look at this Red once again, just rotating top really well.
Yeah, leaving Jin alone, but not really that big of a deal. Darius most likely dying here. Yep, big explosion, dead Darius. And Jin now, against 2 CC characters, theoretically would be in a tough spot, but with his massive movement speed advantages, thanks to the Ghost Blade, just gets out, no questions asked. Tristana might be in trouble here. Not spotted by a ward, but just through general concerns about rotating. Graves, in his weakened state from all those turret shots, get taken down pretty easily as well. So now we're at still at a 6k gold lead, almost to 20 minutes. And Tristana is at really low health against a really powerful Cho'Gath, but does manage to get away, just barely, and should probably go back to heal rather than staying under turret, dying horrifically.
Well, we're going to see a dead Trez. There it is.
Yep.
You called it.
There's that horrific death again. Sona does manage to get picked off. That's a really tanky Darius. Ziggs and Anivia are fighting in the bot lane as well. We'll try to keep a quick eye on that. Ziggs does manage to win, just barely. And Kindred's trying to get away, wisely running rather than trying to go B because of her incredibly low HP. This healing might be a mistake though if the LCUS can land a good snare. Oh, but the flash? Yeah, that's probably going to be it.
Flash.
Much needed flash. Just to get that extra little bit of distance so Kindred can get away. Another lost turret. It was really a shame to watch that Anivia fight too, because they were both really low. But it just kind of goes with the whole theme of this game, where the red team just has the understanding and just, you know, the gumption and the hit point totals that managed to get them just a little bit further in the lead, despite a very impressive minion lead for Anivia over that Ziggs. But I guess, you know, assists matter too.
Well, you would think that with, you know, possible Skarner spot lane, you would think that with Red's, you know, constant rotation, that blue would start putting a lot more, you know, control wards on the map, but you're just not seeing that.
Graves in a little bit of trouble here, probably getting taken down. He's just so squishy, especially against a level 12 Cho'Gath. Oh, Graves tries to dash, but gets stunned anyway. But they do manage to get a Zig ult out of it, which is probably unnecessary. So they might be able to get something done here. Like picking off the Sona. Very nice. Looks like Darius really wants this Cho'Gath. Lux following up to help, but that is leaving top lane a little bit exposed, or middle lane a little bit exposed. Jhin gets taken out by the Anivia. Amazing ice wall, stopping the squishy ADC from getting away, and Tristana is using this opportunity to split push. Slowly trying to climb that gold lead back. Now down only 4K, give or take. Looks like the next opportunity to fight will probably be the next dragon that's coming up. So,
oh yeah, definitely. And Red has definitely prepared for it with vision around the dragon pit. It's just going to come down to whether or not all of Blue is going to show up for the fight.
which is what a lot of these fights have come down to. Fortunately, the Anivia was able to hold that mid turret, but if that fight had gone differently, we'd probably be repeating the same things we'd said before about the Tristana, or just blue team in general, not necessarily being in the position to cause an even team fight. But blue's working to secure this dragon right now, and Cho'Gath's the one that's out of position up top lane. Not only Cho'Gath, but Ziggs gets caught, and we're seeing a little bit of that late game you were talking about now starting to come out from the blue team. Might be able to turn this around if they get a couple more picks like that. Not to mention their first dragon. Alright, so we got a 3v2 situation in mid here. Cho is split pushing rather effectively. Hopefully got to get lucky, gets out of there, because if he doesn't, he's going to get some Jhin bullets in the face. Oh, but Jhin misses his last two shots. It's very unfortunate. Really good ults from Sona this whole game, though. Just really, really well structured, and that Tristana is very lucky to have gotten away.
I'm pretty sure she's landed every single one so far.
It does seem like it, especially even with all of the dashes that the blue team has put out. It seems as though every time you're looking at that R, it takes somebody out. A little bit of a skirmish here between Darius and Cho'Gath as well, but Kindred trying to help gets caught completely out of position by the Anivia and the Graves, and now the Cho'Gath is probably going to get taken out as well. Flash there by the Darius, maybe unnecessary, but does help secure that kill. And now Tristana is alone in the mid lane trying to hold. Doesn't manage to, but Anivia's here. Great stun and takes out the Ziggs. Jin's got to get out of there before that Lux. Misses her snare, but does hit a slow. Oh. Man, if that snare had landed, it might have been a completely different fight there, but unfortunately Lux goes down. Check out the gold earned for a moment here. Relatively impressive on both sides here, and explains why the games have been relatively even in this later stage. Anivia almost breaking 10k, and the only other characters that are close to that are Jhin and Cho'Gath on the enemy team.
Anivia just popping off right now.
Yeah, really great. I mean, the last couple of fights especially have just really shown how effective this Anivia is being. And like we said, or specifically like you said, credit where credit is due, that the late game, just you got to look out for that, because this Anivia, with as squishy characters as are on the red team, any of them are caught alone with her and they're going to die.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, their only red team's answer to that would have to be Kindred's ult, but that's it.
Looks like blue is maybe getting a little excited here and going for the Baron buff. Might be able to get it. Nope, backing off. They're a little bit too squishy. They decide to have their three squishiest characters try to help out with that. And they do manage to pick off Sona, but I think they should be really careful here, because that Ziggs could take out Graves and Tristana at the same time. Almost does get the Tristana, in fact. Oh, but the Anivia swoops in like a ice angel of death, and the Lux helps clean it up.
And that's what we call sniping, folks.
Darius, meanwhile, once again fighting with his arch rival Cho'Gath. Meanwhile, Anivia gets another kill. I think that's 5 in a row now for the bird. Darius getting taken out, though, unfortunately for him. So a little bit of trades here, a little bit of trades there. Down to now a 1k gold lead. Blue team really fighting back now as we enter more of the late game situation. And a lot of it has to be given to Anivia. She's picking up the blue team in her claws and carrying them across the field. We'll have
Blue
to see.
once again going for that Baron.
Yeah, this Baron, they're still insisting on going for it without their tank really being there to provide any sort of presence. Jhin valiantly tried to steal it, but was not able to get it off, and so they do get the buff. They're just, taking advantage of the deaths while they have them.
Well, now Anivia's 10-4. She used to be 3-4 in the beginning of the game, and I think that combined deaths and her farm has just really allowed her to pull ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's sitting at the second best farm right now behind the Cho, and then Tristana's also been catching up a lot with that split pushing as well. Obviously, her score is not as impressive as Jin's, but she is getting a lot of the key items she wants, and she's been escaping a lot of fights that she may not have been able to otherwise. Kindred almost caught out of position there, but manages to flip away from the ice wall. Ice wall does manage to catch her though, but another flip and she's most likely out of there. Here goes that out of position. Let's see if the Jhin ult does hit the Anivia, but another Ziggs ult does manage to clean up that Tristana again. Doesn't manage to get quite as far away as she has been in the past. Almost equal in the gold lead now. Turret count just short of 1. Darius was pushing bot, but wisely decides to come back because his team is definitely going to need him to hold this 5-man push.
Well, it just seems like Blue can't even use her Baron buff effectively right now.
Oh, there's another one of those stuns that does last. Anivia almost goes down, but a massive shield keeps her alive, and she wisely falls back. Might be able to get back in this fight depending how long it lasts. Darius helps take out that Jhin. Jhin really caught behind there as the rest of his team starts to pull back. And now Darius trying to look for more, or just locking down a few minion kills here. But yeah, I mean, I think Red Team kind of caught on what they need to do to keep this game going in their favor, and that's make the Anivia either run for her life or die. And quite honestly, almost pulled it off. Sona's trying to keep an eye on the blue team and their dragon, but with a ward there, she just had to run for the hills, and blue gets their second Cloud Drake of the game.
Well, Red used to have a 6k gold lead, and now it's dropped down to they're pretty even.
Yeah, hero kills have been lining up pretty well too, though like you said, 7 of those have come from the Anivia on her rather fantastic comeback. And now they're just, trying to angle for the next big engage. That Baron buff's not going to last too much longer. So it's nice to see that they're kind of pushing that out and trying to make something happen. Looks like an engage. We got the Darius once again is trying to split push. What do you think about all the split pushing that blue team's going on? Obviously, it's kind of helped them climb back into now a lead, not much of one, but a lead. But also, again, it puts them in these kind of 4v5 situations.
Well, they definitely paid for it earlier, but it's definitely paying off.
Yeah, certainly, especially because she grabs that Sona. This is probably the biggest team fight of the game. And we have chaos absolutely everywhere. 4 heroes taken out right away. Jhin possibly getting good ults, but just seems to get distracted and misses his opportunity to pick off Graves. And it goes a 2 for 2, and assuming blue team falls back here, but they don't. Losing the Anivia, and they really need to get out of there.
Yeah, it seemed like the AFK farming for Gotta Get Lucky has really paid off in getting his core items for his build, and the same thing for their mid and top lane. I think that was probably a good call on their part, but at the same time, they kind of lost a lot of turrets early game.
Tristana's going to find herself in a bit of trouble here. Fortunately, by some miracle, things to reveal behind her, but just really going to have to run for the hills here. Seems like she's going to pull it off, though. That was really close. The Kindred, if the Kindred had stuck around for maybe another 2 seconds, they could have closed back up on this Tristana. But now Lux is here to help out, and they're probably going to be fine. But yeah, quite a lot of chaos in that previous fight. If this game wasn't such non-stop action over the last couple of minutes, I'd try to go back just to really see what happened there. But once again, the Lux, once the double stun. Yeah, probably a little too much greed there on the Tristana and Lux's part. At this stage of the game, with how powerful everybody is, I just think they're too squishy and everyone else is too bursty to stay out that long.
And especially with the Sona's ult on point all game, you just can't get caught out like that.
It's been really interesting to watch the Sona being on point, as you said. With all the flashes and dashes that the blue team has, they still manage to get caught in the after effects of this stun, which I'm sure must be rather frustrating when you think you've dodged something and then it just doesn't work out for you. Speaking of things not working out for you, Darius goes down quite efficiently there. Jin trying to get his ult off and does finally manage to pick off someone with it, but at the cost of Cho helping him secure it. Anivia trying to make something happen, but gets caught out as well. Tristana's back in the fight though, and despite getting picked off a couple of times, her damage potential's probably enough to convince Red that it's not worth sticking around. But Jin proving everybody wrong with that, scaring both the ADC and the support off the point, and now they're going to get the first inhibitor. Possibly looking for more, but it looks as though Tristana and Lux are happy to wait until the rest of their team is back up.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why Sona decided to go Ardent Sensor, considering Jin's attack speed doesn't get that much enhanced, but at the same time, the cooldown reduction must be pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm sure with Baron up right now, it looks as though Red Team's thinking of going for it. All of Blue is up though, and I'm sure they're suspecting this is going to happen. We'll have to see how it works out for them. Darius tries to get a cool spin move on. Another amazing stun, but Graves manages to get out at the cost of Tristana's life. A big flash, but Anivia once again spreading her wings. Oh, but right into the Cho. Awesome flash. Could get away. Lots of slows there. Kindred flashes for it. Ah, man. That Anivia is really waiting for her egg to come back off cooldown, I'm telling you.
It looks like this will be game for Red.
Well, we'll have to see. There is quite a lot of time left on the rest of the spawns, but it has to be said, Blue did a really good job fighting their way back into this game. I think if the Lux and Tristana hadn't gotten picked off bot lane after that, at the beginning of that last string of engagements, they would have maybe had a chance to pull this off. But with 25 seconds left on the Anivia, this is definitely going to be game. And Red Team makes up for their loss in Game 1 to fight back into the final round for Game 3. Definitely an awesome back and forth game there throughout the middle section of the game. All right.
So what are your takeaways from that game?
Well, definitely to never count Anivia out. And also just nice to see the different styles of play and how they can work off over the long term. We were being admittedly rather critical of the blue team for having all that split pushing, but eventually it did pay off and they did manage to climb back within a sizable amount. But then we also saw how good rotations helped in the early game. What were your thoughts?
I agree. It seemed like, we I think the worst thing for blue team was going the Lux pick bot lane right now. I mean, Sona's really good early game, but Lux just can't keep up. In late game, they probably could have used another tank like Thresh right now. It's probably back in the meta. I think, but other than that, it felt like Anivia basically put the team on her back and tried to carry them to a win, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, well, with that in mind, we'll be heading into a game 3 in just a few minutes. So we're going to take a quick break and we will see you in a few. Stay tuned.